Hey guys, it's Magaz here. This is not an airsoft video, but bear with me, you might still enjoy this. If, like me, you were born in the 80s and grew up in the 90s, loved gun and military things and playing army in the woods and shit like that, there's a big chance that you played with action figures of some sort, and I'm confident with that in mind, you'll have heard of GiJoe and Action Force. Today, I'm going to be opening up a couple of boxes that haven't been opened in probably around 20 years. Inside is most of my childhood GiJoe and Action Force collection. Some of it is still hidden away somewhere in the lockup, but for now, let's take a look at this first batch together. This box, which I was hoping it would have a best before date on here. Anyway, it's an ice cream tub. I used to use ice cream tubs like this. There were two of these. I'm not sure where the other one is yet. I'll find it, but I used to use them to keep all the action figure weapons and accessories and things in. Now, I'm going to go into this later, but I'm just opening it first because when I ended up keeping it at the place, I actually found two figures in there that I wanted to get out because they were pretty interesting. Straight off the bat, first of all, we've got the Chinese version of Tiger Force Flint, which is a really unique, weird little figure, and it's one that I always... Tiger Force was like my favourite of the sort of subcategories of GiJoe and Action Force, and this Flint was always a weird one to me because it's not Flint. A lot of GiJoe fans will know that this isn't Flint, that's actually the head of Falcon. So I used to use this as Tiger Force Falcon. In fact, from what I know, the arms, I believe, are from Tunnel Rat, and the body and legs from one of the later versions of Dusty, and then the head is Falcon. So I've got all three of those figures in the original formation, so technically I could make an alternate version of this figure, and I might do that at some point for a laugh. But yeah, so that's Tiger Force Flint. So let's pop into one side. Let's keep going through this. This one is, if I was going to sell them, this one would be the money maker. This is Tiger Force Outback, or Old Man Outback. Outback was always one of my favourite figures, and this guy was the very final figure that I ever bought. And yeah, he's a cool guy. The original Outback was pretty cool, but I think he had like olive drab BDU pants and then a white top that said survival across it. And he had like ginger hair, so basically his t-shirt and hair colour have swapped. The white hair on this is what makes me say it's like Old Man Outback. But yeah, he's a pretty cool guy. The Tiger Force logo on the front, stripes on the back. Really cool little guy, worth quite a bit with all his accessories. I'm not sure I've still got all his accessories, but we'll find out as we go through this box. So let's pop him over there. When we open this, I've opened this briefly to actually put a few more figures in that I found loose in the lockup, but I haven't actually rooted through it and had a look. So this is going to be as much a surprise for me with some of these figures as it is for you. I can see through this idea there are some interesting customs in there that I did during the later years of my childhood there. Some of it were figures broke and I'm like, I really like using this figure, so I'll rebuild it with parts of another figure. So we'll go into that when we open it up and we'll have a look. So there we go, this is my childhood Joe collection. There's a wide variety. There's some non-Joe figures there I can see. We'll start off with the elephant in the room. I know there was no Tiger Force Lady J. But Lady J was like my only female GiJoe figure apart from Chun-Li, I believe, at the time. Both of her thumbs snapped off, if I recall, and I think something happened to her legs, maybe her crotch broke. I can't remember, but I decided, as Tiger Force was my favourite subset, I would make a Tiger Force Lady J to kind of get her back in the action. She's a bit beefier, a bit more robust and action ready than the delicate, feminine original Lady J, but yeah, check that out, Tiger Force Lady J. For the record, these are the arms from Buzzer, the Dreadnought. Is it Buzzer or Ripper? Buzzer, the guy with the chainsaw. And Tiger Force Roadblock, who is also in here. Both of those figures should be in here somewhere. So there we go. And whose gun is that? I'm not sure whose gun that is. Again, some of these, the names are gonna like probably elude me because it's been so many years since I've looked at some of these figures, but some of them, the names are just going to jump straight back at me, like this guy. This was my very first ever GiJoe. This is Dodger, part of the, I believe, the Battle Corps series. I'm not sure why I chose him as my first figure when I was choosing them, but I believe he's the laser rifle trooper and vehicle driver. But yeah, there we go, Dodger. Might make a Marauder Task Force version of Dodger just to bring him up to date. I believe there is like a 2017 JoeCon version of him, but probably millions to get that. Dodger. My second ever figure's in here as well somewhere, but I believe he's in bits, and that was Blocker. This here isn't Star. This is C-3PO from Star Wars. It's not G.I. Joe at all. I believe this was the second 3PO figure I got, because the first one, almost all of the chrome paint was worn off. I got it from a guy at high school who was like, "You're not a Star Wars fan, I bet you don't even know who Bib Fortuna is." I'm like, "Of course I do." There's also a couple of mask figures in here. I believe there's probably a whole bunch of mask figures in here. So yeah, I'll just bring them out and put them to one side when I find them. This here is also not a G.I. Joe. This is Ripley from Aliens. Tracks, the rear tracks from Snowcat, or these ones are actually from Tiger Cat, and these are pretty badly damaged. I don't believe they are gonna fit back on the Tiger Cat. And there's the top of the sort of missile bay thing. I believe this is Core by Leonard. Just a rando bit of bunker. Now look at this. The Cobra, was it machine gun bunker or something like that? What was this plane called? It was the one. The Ghost. It says Ghost Striker on it. I'm sure it was called the Ghost, like X-29 Ghost Striker or something. It projected Cobra Rattlers and then exploded Cobra Rattlers. It's pretty cool. We had to play with it at pitch black though. It was really cool. Both me and my cousin had one of these, and they came with what I think is one of the coolest versions of Ace, which I'm sure will be in here somewhere. Oh wait, hang on. It's not Ace, but look. Here's Dusty. Game over, yeah! If we put him next to Falcon, they're almost identical. Crazy. Yes, it's definitely the legs and body of Dusty. Arms off Tunnel Rat. There's Tunnel Rat. There we go. Yeah, check that out, the arms off Tunnel Rat. And the head of Falcon, who is in here somewhere as well. So this is, I believe, was it version 3 of Dusty? I'm not sure why he has orange hair. It's a bit weird. Because I'm sure the original Dusty had brown hair, but I mean, I guess it's the same with Outback. His hair, it doesn't really matter, does it? But yeah, this was my only version of Dusty that I owned, I believe, and I used to like the guys who looked military in camo, especially the guys with berets. Like all my favourite figures had berets, like Falcon, like I said, Outback, Falcon, this version of Dusty, Flint, Dalton. I had a couple of others. Who else had berets? I can't remember. Oh, Stalker, but he's here. My version of Stalker. He was a strange figure. We'll get to him in a minute though. So this is the Sonic Fighters Dalton, which was a different colourway than the original one. I kind of prefer the original colourway because it was a little more green and tan, so a little more military looking. But this guy came with a variety of different weapons, and this Sonic backpack, which is a massive backpack, which is to fit all this 80s technology in there. But yeah, so he's a radio communications technology bloke, so obviously his backpack's got a big computer look to it and a big satellite dish on top, which is obviously 80s technology, and it made these sounds. Hang on, let's get the microphone close to it. 1 minute. There we go. There we go. That's batteries that have been dead for like 20 years. Armadillo, driver of the Rolling Thunder, missing his crotch. Bullhorn, I'm going to go through this a little quicker now. Bullhorn, I believe he was a sniper, but he also had a freaking mega horn for some reason. He's one of my favourite figures as well, because again, sort of military colours, camo paint. Yeah, Ambush, I always used this guy as a British guy because he came with like an L85, or it was like a version of the EM2 rifle. A lot of the Action Force figures, the UK version of them, like Flint and Lady J, they had alternate birthplaces as well. Like Flint came from somewhere in the UK and Lady J came from Cork, so obviously that's different than the G.I. Joe iterations of those figures. But yeah, Rampart, I believe. Oh wow, he must have been wet or something, because I'm not going to move his arms because he's got some serious cracks in his left upper arm and his shoulders are frozen. He needs to go to a chiropractor, get himself sorted out. But this Major Storm? I don't know, I might have just made that up. This guy was the driver of the general vehicle. There's a little buggy that came with Rolling Thunder. This is Overkill, something like that. It was the one of the Bat commanders. I remember discovering one day that he had a weird little pop-out machine gun in there. That was an amazing surprise. Topside, very terrible haircut. He always reminded me of that zombie in Dawn of the Dead that gets its head severed by the helicopter. Crocmaster, ooh wow. The O-ring on this guy feels like it's about to snap. Duke, this is the version 1 Duke, and it's the earlier version I believe where the head only turns sideways. I think they make one, I'm sure I've heard they've made one where it's also does the up and downness, but who knows, I'm not entirely sure. Blown out crotch, I got this guy for free while I was at primary school. A girl called Rachel, I think it was Rachel, they got a little remote control car for her brother, and she bought Duke and I want to say Tiger Force roadblock to sit in it, but they didn't fit, so she knew I collected these figures, so she brought them and gave them to me, which was cool. Another version of Duke. Wow, he's got some pen on his head for some reason, I'm not sure what went on there. Zap, version 2 of Zap, or version 3. Again, this guy's a Sonic fighter, so he had a big backpack that made a lot of noise. I believe this was his weapon actually. One of his weapons. It's like a rocket specialist, a heavy weapons sort of guy. This weapon is very rubbery. I always thought his weapons were a bit weird and you couldn't really get him to hold them properly. I wasn't really a fan of him, apart from he looked like the guy who played the guy in Addams Family. And yeah, there we go. Sub-Zero with his backpack. I believe he used to have some kind of rockets or something on there, and he has some snowshoes. Oh, blown out crotch. There's a few of these blown out crotches. There we go, Tiger Force Frostbite. Countdown. Anyway, then we've got Payload. Wasn't he one of the Eco Warriors or some shit like that? I can't remember. Some of these figures I just bought because I'd spending money. Like, oh, I need another action figure, and bought them, and then they never really ended up getting used in the games, the battles. They were just like target fodder, I guess, cannon fodder. Hardball with his gun, with his grenade launcher, and he's got very loose legs. It's the bottom of his legs, so it's not the O-ring that's causing the issue. He's also got his backpack, so I think that's all of his accessories. Is he one of the ones with the kicky or the punchy features? I can't remember. Yeah, there we go. He has the punching spring thing. I think it's called Tijbang. He has a weird name. I can't remember who this guy is. He's got his visor though, which is cool because they sometimes go missing. Very loose legs. Tunnel Rat. Tunnel Rat was always one of my favourites. I wanted the one with the camo face paint on, but I could never find it, and then I found this version, which is pretty cool. It did kind of annoy me how he was just wearing like normal pants and then like sort of cowboy boots. Because he was the bloke who'd go through the tunnels and blow shit up, so obviously it's got ammo and explosives on the back. I liked Tunnel Rat because my name's Lee and his surname was Lees, Nicky Lees. He is a likeness of Larry Hama, the legendary Larry Hama, who is basically responsible for most of the G.I. Joes, I guess, and a lot of the lore. So yeah, cool guy. Hooded Coco, this was the later version with the Sonic Fighters backpack. Oh, you can, hang on a minute, you talk, let's get the microphone. So there we go. Hooded Cobra Commander. He was my definitive leader of my bad guys. The only Cobra Commander I have, I think. What's happened?
A 49-year-old unidentified man went berserk last night, opening fire with a 12-gauge shotgun in a crowded downtown restaurant.
Oh, poor guy. Now, I remember when I was a kid and this guy broke, I was really upset. But I believe I donated his legs to somebody else. Maybe one day I will repair Flint. You can see it was one of my most used figures. He's missing a thumb, got all scraping on the beret. But yeah, Dashiell Fairbairn, Flint. Oh, hang on a minute. We've got some guys here who aren't Jaws. We'll get all these guys out at once. Oh, there's a big squadron of them here. There's a fair few of these. These are the Corps by Leonard. These were kind of like a knockoff G.I. Joe situation. Shit, there's a lot of these guys just here in the middle. There's another one. I don't know the names of any of these guys. Some of them I painted for some reason. But yeah, these were always a force on their own. Like they weren't part of G.I. Joe or Action Force. I always use them as kind of like bad guys. So there we go. They're like a different group of bad guys. Blocker. This was my second G.I. Joe. I'm sure his legs are in here somewhere, and if they are, I'm going to repair him. That O-ring is fucked. So I will definitely be repairing this guy because he's got a very sentimental spot for me as my second G.I. Joe. We've got another mask figure, another bit of cover. We've got a couple more bits here of the shelter. This is cool. Here we go. Put that together. Put this together. Put this on top. And there we go. We've got the Cobra machine gun jank bunker. There's no way this could survive an attack. Look at it. There we go. Cobra bunker. That's pretty cool. Yeah. I used to have this, or I have this still. G.I. Joe had the roadblock checkpoint alpha situation. Tiger Force Recondo, or Wild Bill as I used to call him, because it is Recondo in a Tiger Force uniform. It came with the Tiger Fly, and he was carded as Wild Bill, but they never made a Wild Bill action figure. So I always thought up until like adulthood that this was Wild Bill, and then so it listed on Yojo as Recondo. I was like, what the Both of his thumbs are gone, but he didn't need his thumbs to fly a helicopter, so there we go. There's my General Hawk. It was the Super Sports Action Flying General Hawk. Another Leonard core with a melted elastic band stuck to his head. I think there's another one here, another core. And this guy here, definitely not G.I. Joe. He is O'Malley from Aliens. He was never in the film Aliens, but he was in the bloody toy line for some reason. I'll put him over there briefly. Deep Six's best mate, the Dolphin bloke. Rock and roll, and he's still got his lever action rifle and the tabs on his leg. Blanca, Street Fighter 2. Scorpion, Mortal Kombat. Captain Gridiron, the football bloke. There is my version of Roblox.
Who wants a body massage?
The Tiger Force Roblox, he's got Flint's legs for some reason. I can't remember why I gave him Flint's. Oh, because I gave the Tiger Force legs to Lady J. I don't know why I didn't just give these legs to Lady J. I think because I thought if I keep the helmet on him, he's still Tiger Force, but if I give Lady J the legs, she's Tiger Force as well. So there we go. Everybody seems to really bum over Snake Eyes, but to me it was just, oh, it's missing a thumb. That's what you get when you play with swords all day, man. It was a pretty mediocre figure as far as I'm concerned, so Snake Eyes. Shit, is this Techno Viper? I want to say Techno Viper, I'm not sure. There's half a Viper. Oh no. I remember this guy being in one piece when I put him in the box. What is it with Cobra and these ridiculous O-rings? Well, at least Voltar's got his scrotal zone and his legs next to him. So yeah, he's missing his scrotal zone. This was one of the earliest figures I got as well, I believe. This is a 90s figurine, I think. I'm not sure, but I remember this guy. He came with a bird. I want to say a vulture, but I'm sure I've been told it's not a vulture. But I don't care, I used to say it was a vulture. And I always used to put his backpack pointing upwards. I thought it was an aerial until then I realised that it should probably go that way so the bird is probably in here somewhere. These were the guys who had like semen-y stuff all over him and you could like wet them and it would come off. And he's got some green splaff on his face. A couple of my guys have got that because I had this green stuff that I used to put on him. I can't remember this guy's name. Recoil maybe? I don't know. Anyway, he's got a silly hat. Tripwire with all of his accessories. Some of these guys are just sat here with all their gear. They must have been sat here for years with all their gear like, can I get it on play please? Airtight, hazardous environment specialist, I believe. I used him as the co-pilot in one of my planes. I had a few of the planes and he was always the co-pilot because he just friggin' looks like a pilot. Dick kicking Chun-Li, free fall, something like that. This guy was always in a co-pilot seat or a pilot seat in one of the planes as well, so I can't remember his name. This is stressful. Blocker's legs and Blocker's crotch. There we go. Laser Viper. Astro Viper? Or Cock Rocket Viper? I'm not sure, one of the Vipers. This brings back some memories. I can't remember what this toy line was called, but they were all these tiny little tanks and APCs. This guy used to have some rockets on him. This guy was a tank, there is a tank. I had a whole heap of these, including this giant one that kind of looked like a submarine. Mercer, the guy who thought being a Cobra Viper was shit and joined Joe. This is from Jurassic Park. Little motorbike. Less said about that one, the better. This was a figure that I can't remember what I used to use them for. They were the ones that were weird colours I used to use for a certain situation. I can't remember. Yeah, I'll look into these at some point. But yeah, look at that. It's what's she called? Leia Organa. And there's Harrison Solo. Stoker. Now, Stoker I always thought was cool because he was camo, and I could never find the original one, and then this guy came out, and I actually had this guy in a 12-inch scale as well, exactly the same loadout, but he had like zebra stripes. I can't remember what this guy was called. He's got that green stuff on his face again. Like, wow, this guy's really been got. Cesspool. This guy's a spooky face. Woo! Another one from the Eco Warriors sort of subset, but this was one of the bad guys, and he used to squirt semen on people. Mainframe with his backpack. Another communicator. Oh, it's got a tab missing. Another communication specialist. This guy and Dalton would always hang out together at the headquarters. Here is a gun that I believe lives here. There we go, look at that. No, it's out of ammo because it's got like 12 rounds. I think this guy's Static Line. He has ridiculous hair. I think it's called Static Line. One of the Sky Patrol guys. I always wanted the Sky Patrol vehicles, but I always just ended up with a lot of the figures. I think this guy might have been another one of them. I know he had the backpack helicopter thing that and he flew off. Lowlight. Here is Buzzer, and as you can see, he's got Lady J's arms, and he's seeming very he's folding his arms because like I'm very upset about this. I need my arms back, so I could put him back, this dreadnought back to how he should be, and put Lady J's arms back on her, but you know, nah. This here is from Leonard Corps, the super shiny guys, which I don't know if they're in here or not. Yep, there we go. Another Leonard Corps guy. This guy had a flamethrower. Good old Crimson Guard. Rock Viper. This gun always used to bother me because it was like a space age PSG-1. I've always been into guns, so I knew the names of most of these guns when I was a kid. He has this space age weird PSG-1 that has this... It looks like it's supposed to be a drum magazine, but it's the wrong way to really be a drum magazine. It's got this like screen on the side, and I don't know what this bit's supposed to be, but I just pretended it was a PSG-1, and Rock Viper was one of my Cobra snipers. Katzenbogen! Bazooka. Crotch is missing. His bazooka's probably in here somewhere. It's not Heat Viper, is it? It's Incinerator or something. I'm not sure. Cobra Fire Starty Block. My favourite layer Organa with some elastic band on her feet. Hoffley was always my favourite. She had the best hair. Yep. I chose my favourite layer by the hair, not by her bikini. This one I always thought was a bit ridiculous because the steering wheel is a machine gun. Thundercats. DJ, Scoop, and his camera. There we go. This was a guy I always kind of related to because I always wanted to be a photographer, and that's what I am. That's my career. I'm a photographer, and I liked making videos. So I guess this is the YouTuber action figure right here, and he had a terrible outfit. I always wish he had like camo on, or at least OD green. Coelophysis, Jurassic Park. This guy was weird. His bird is actually in the other box. I got this guy, then I was like, what the fuck is Cobra thinking? I just realised he's got a rope on his back. Right, so in my headcanon, this guy could just fly for some reason. No idea why, this guy could just fly. But it looks like he's got a rope on there, so maybe he's that batshit crazy that he hangs that rope on things and he just jumps around. Maybe he's the Cobra jester. Maybe Cobra Commander just watches him fly about in Cobra manner. Deep Six, the version who comes with that big fish. Mask. Another version of Flint. I remember this guy, one of his thumbs is really loose. I saw his helmet a minute ago in here. Backpack machine gun, which has like 8 bullets and would definitely deafen you. Footloose.
Hey, look, there's an army.
Nice catch, Blanco Nino. But too bad your ass got sad.
Look at that. It's got all of his gear. Jeez, look at that. Is that Footloose's actual backpack, or is that Recondo? I was like, I'm not sure, but he's got his helmet, he's got his M16. This guy was definitely one of my favourite Jaws. Look at him. This is the definitive military action figure. Pretty cool. Bounty Hunter Leia. The Gator from Crocmaster. This is the Vamp. Dress Blue's version of Gung Ho. Ace, the version of Ace that I used to think was the best version. Look at that, pilot. Definitely legit pilot, looks cool. Clutch from the guys who fought the aliens. Fast Draw. There's an Iron Grenadier here, missing his crotch. Oh, the other version of Duke I've got. I was like, what happened to Duke, man? He got ripped and buff and then his arm came off. Crazy. This is another Jurassic Park thing. Hey, it looks like the rest of this is just weapons, bits of a Rolling Thunder, a backpack from somebody that's not G.I. Joe. Oh, dude, the radio from that bloke. What was that bloke called? Oh, dude, fuck yeah, look at that. Where is Outback? There we go. Finding Outback's accessories. I think he had a big fuck off backpack. I can't remember. Forgot, that's fuck. Oh my god, where's Falcon? Where's my legit other version of Falcon? There's definitely some figures in here that I remember having that are missing. That I'm probably gonna have to have another look through. Oh, there's Topside's weird MP5K looking thing. There's definitely some figures that aren't in here that I'm pretty disappointed that aren't in here. That's Bazooka? Ghost Rider's leg, crotch. I need to find that other tub. There is another tub, another little tub. Oh, dude, look at this. Look at this. This is exciting. This is exciting. I've got all these figures and I'm excited about this piece of paper. Look at this. General at the bottom. Yeah, I've got Rock and Roll there. We've got bloody, what's it called? Topside, Captain Gridiron. I've got a lot of these guys that are on there. That's cool. Eco Warriors. This is really cool. Septic tank. I didn't realize for years that a septic tank is a thing that holds poo. And yeah, I'm gonna find the other one of these tubs at some point, which will have the rest of the weapons in and hopefully the missing figures. And I will search through the rest of that lockup for the rest of my figures, because there's some that just aren't in here and it's annoying me. I'm gonna find some figures that are complete, like we've got Footloose here. I'm gonna start reviewing the figures one by one, very similar to Hooded Cobra Commander, but with my own twist on it. That's Ripley's cattle prod. Anyway, that's a sound effect there. Oh look, great value, fun. So I'm going to do little reviews of each of these figures and talk briefly about them. I'm obviously going to start with Dodger because that's my first figure, and I'll probably end with Outback because he was my final figure. So what I'm going to do is go through all of this box at home, and I'm going to go on bloody Yojo and work out what guns and what accessories go with each figure, and I'll keep them all separate together with all their accessories, then I can review them. Any that are missing O-rings or damaged, I'll repair first. And yeah, so that's what you can look forward to. If you want to see some reviews and more G.I. Joe action, let me know which one of the figures I've got down here you like the look of and you want me to review first, or after I reviewed my first two. Go ahead and leave a comment. There's Dennis Nedry's gas mask. That's part of Swamp Masher. I've got that at home. Just let me know in the comments and I will see what I can do. Oh look, double remedial guns. These things were some of the worst looking guns. I think I've got a black one as well. Innuendo there. So this has been a nostalgia trip right here. There's a lot of Joes here, a lot of cool stuff, and some of it is very sentimental to me. There's a few in here that I can remember some amazing adventures with. So if you want me to review any of these, let me know. I will do my best to get them reviewed, and in the order you like. If you've got any parts for the Jaws that are missing parts, let me know, and you can either send them my way, or if you're keen on selling them and it's something that I really want, I will probably maybe buy that off you to get these guys back up to scratch. I've also somewhere that's really awesome. I've got all the card backs to these. I just have no idea where they are. They're in a Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles rucksack. When I find them, I will obviously make sure everything goes together with everything.
So there we go. I know this was a lot longer than the content I usually make, but if you enjoyed it, hit that like button. Were you a G.I. Joe or Action Force collector as a child? Do you still have your childhood Joes? And what was your favourite from my collection? Let me know down in the comments. If you want to see more content like this or the usual airsoft gameplay and reviews, hit that subscribe button. You can support the channel over at patreon.com/cbmpc, and you can check out our podcast by searching Be Deep Pod on any of the social media situations. As always, thanks for watching, and remember kids, the air may be soft, but our balls are hard.